Hi, and welcome to this week's Stockscores Market Minutes. This week I want to talk about what I'm doing as a trader right now in this market. Because the market's been sliding lower over the last few weeks, the buyer enthusiasm is lacking. And that means that we are not getting the same intensity of price moves on hot stocks, and there's just fewer of them. So we have to change our approach a little bit, and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing in just a moment. But let's just think about the three things that seem to touch off every hot stock. Most of them are beginning with an abnormal price gain with strong volume. Now, it's not enough to look for abnormal price gains. We have to make sure that these price breaks, these surprises, are from a predictive chart pattern. We want to have strong demand for the stock and limited supply. So this works best on stocks that don't have a lot of shares available for the public to trade. We call that the float. And so ideally, if you have a stock that's trading 100,000 times a day but only has 4 million shares in the float, you have a recipe for a big price move. Now, what drives this? Well, typically there's some sort of catalyst. Maybe it's a news release, maybe it's a rumor, something that captures buyer attention. And so then you get a whole bunch of people clamoring to own a stock that doesn't have very many shares available, and that's the recipe for big price gains. Now, we can do that in any market condition, but in this market, it's particularly important because the market itself is not helping, and I'll explain why that is in just a moment. So because the market's not helping, we need what we call alpha stocks. These are stocks trading on their own story. They're fueled by buyer interest specifically focused on what that company is doing. So let's look at a couple of charts here, or a chart here, just to explain this a little better. So this is a stock that I traded last week, SER. And I've created an indicator to look for that abnormal price movement with abnormal volume. Anywhere you see a pink dot on this chart, you have that. But not all pink dots count. The ones that count are the ones that are breaking out of a predictive chart pattern. Now, I did a video here on the Stockscores YouTube channel about a week and a half ago that talked about chart patterns. You might want to go back and take a look at that because I explained that in more detail. But essentially, the elements of a predictive chart pattern are a compression of volatility. So the price action is becoming more and more compressed. You can see that there's a lot more volatility here, but by this tippy point of this triangle, there's not a lot of volatility anymore. And then you have a noticeable price break from low volatility. Now, what also helps is that there's rising bottoms on this chart, which is a sign of optimism. I can see the volume coming into the stock. And again, I'm breaking from that low volatility through resistance from optimism. That's the recipe for a predictive chart pattern. And you can see, this is a 1-minute chart. You can see that that stock made a pretty significant gain over the next hour. And that's all I'm doing. Every day there's 1 to 5 of these. In a hot market, we get a lot more. In this market, we don't get as many and they don't make as big a move, but they're still happening. And you can make consistent profits by looking for this. I'm going to teach a lot more about this. I'll do an hour-long session on day trading the stock market in April. And so if you go to the Stockscores website, there is on the homepage a list of upcoming events. They're free. You can just, if you want to dive deeper into this stuff, I'll explain a lot more detail about what this indicator does and how to find them, the tools I use to find them. And we'll talk also about things like the exit, the risk management, all of these important components for traders. All right, well, now I want to get into my normal market analysis. I said that the stock market was lacking enthusiasm, and you'll see in a moment why, but essentially the uncertainty around the war, around perhaps the effect on the economy of higher gas prices, those sorts of things have muted buyer enthusiasm. We don't have a hot sector of the market right now. And so the result is that generally we have to be pretty picky. We have to focus on those alpha stocks. So let's dive into the Stockscores website and just take a look at some charts here. This is where you can look for those upcoming events right there on the homepage. You can also register for my free weekly email right there. Let's bring up the chart of the S&P 500 first, SPY. And there you can see the problem. We are in a downward trend going back the last month or so. And leading into that, we were essentially in a sideways trend. So here we have buyer enthusiasm. The buyers are in control. This is a neutral market, and now the sellers are in control. Now there's a couple important things on this chart that you should notice. The first is that if I draw a trend line across these tops, anytime you fall away from a trend line like we did on Friday, the market is oversold. So that means that there's a good chance it will start to bounce back from being oversold. But the more important thing is the tops are falling. If we look at a short-term chart, if I go to the 1 month chart here, you'll see more obviously that the tops are falling. That is a sign that the sellers are in control. And so in the short term, we've got a pretty bearish trend. In the long term, if I go to the 3-year weekly chart, you can see that this is similar to these blips that we've had before, these short little blips. And I did a video earlier this week on the short blips not really mattering. It's when they start to accelerate to the downside that you get more significant losses. Well, we are starting to accelerate to the downside. So the long-term upward trend is still intact. The shorter-term upward trend has been broken. And so there's a pretty good chance that we could pull all the way back to that trend line. And therefore, I want you to be pretty careful and cautious with stocks. If we look at the NASDAQ, very similar situation. You see the falling tops. The scores are pretty negative. Notice that our stock score indicator, the green line, the sentiment stock score, fell below that critical 60 point back early in February, and that has really telegraphed this weakness. If we look at the Russell Small Cap Index, the Russell 2000, IWM is the symbol for the ETF. There you again see that downward sloping trend line in the short term. It's not as intense as it is with the larger cap stocks. If we look at the 3-year weekly, however, we do see that that upward trend line has been broken, and therefore we want to be fairly cautious. Again, you have to focus on the alpha stocks, the stocks trading on their own story in that environment. All right, let's move along to the Toronto Stock Exchange, which had been outperforming, but it too now has succumbed to the sellers. There you see the falling tops. The upward trend line was broken here, and we've been building falling tops ever since. So you want to be defensive on Canadian stocks as well. But the 3-year trend, the short-term trend has been broken. The long-term trend is still intact, but we are a long ways above that. So there is, quite a bit of downside until we can get to that level. I want to stress though that although the market is weak now, the best markets come after weakness. If we look here, we had weakness and then we had a great bull market out of that. So this weakness, what it does is it's like a forest fire. It cleanses the forest of all the dead trees and leaves and things like that. It cleans it up, and then you get much better growth afterward. Same in the stock market. When you get a correction or a crash, you cleanse the market of the weak holders, the people who are very short-term oriented, and you have a new reason for the buyers to come in. Prices get cheap. The buyers are now motivated, and that's the psychology that then drives the next leg of the upward trend. And so, although it kind of is not fun to go through a couple months of weakness, it really sets up for a great rally. And I think if we get some resolution to the situation in Iran and oil prices come back down, you're going to see a good rally out of this as you've shaken out the weak holders, and then the market can go higher. All right, well, let's now take a look at gold, because it's been, something that has obviously had a great run leading up to the last couple of months, but then it broke down from a falling top. And there's that falling top, there's the upward trend line, and we broke that this week. So that is a fairly negative signal for gold. Now, it comes with a bit of a caveat because the upward trend is still intact, and I think we could fall down to that upward trend line and then bounce. But anytime trends go parabolic, and by that I mean it curves up and away, and then you break that parabolic trend, it's a pretty good sell signal. We had also what I call a bursting bubble signal right here, where it hit new highs that week, but closed below the open. That's why that candle is red on heavy volume. That's a real strong sign of a top. Let's take a look at silver. I know many of you have been in the silver market as well, and it's pretty much the same. We had a parabolic trend. We hit a new high, closed below the open, and then that sharp sell-off leading to the move back toward the weekly upward trend line. And If we draw this here, you can see that's the, I didn't draw that very well. There's the weekly upward trend line. We're approaching that. We should bounce in the next week or two, but that doesn't mean it's going to rocket higher. It usually bounces and then kind of goes sideways and gets boring, and then it could even break the upward trend line. All right, let's move along now to the US dollar. Actually, we'll look at oil first. USO, obviously the hot market right now, and there's no sign of a breakdown, but the momentum is slowing. We had a very sharp move initially, and now you see the upward moves are pretty minor. So the momentum is slowing. It's still in the upward trend on the short term. If I look at this chart, you can see that the bottoms are still rising, and therefore the buyers are still in control. We've got resistance right here, and if we break through this, could happen next week, then higher prices ahead. A lot of that's going to depend on the headlines out of the Middle East. All right, let's now look at the US dollar, UUP, and you can see that since the war began, the US dollar has been moving higher, and Bitcoin, GBTC, has been in a downward trend for months, and it still is in that downward trend. It got oversold. We say that because we were far below the trend line, and now we're working way back to the trend line. The question is, when it gets there, is it going to continue to break to the downside, or will it actually break the downward trend line? For now, I want you to be somewhat bearish on Bitcoin and really crypto in general. And you can see that it's had its sentiment stock score below 60 for a long time. So it's been a market to avoid, and that's why I've been fairly negative on it lately. All right, so let's now take a look at our outlook then. US large cap stock, well, basically all the stock markets and gold, bearish in the short term, neutral in the long term. And I say neutral because they are coming back to those long-term trend lines where they may bounce. Oil, bullish on both time frames, but it's driven by headlines. Positive headline for the opening of shipping channels in the Middle East would dramatically affect oil very quickly. So you really have to be a short-term oriented trader on something like oil. The US dollar, short-term bearish, long-term neutral. Bitcoin, short-term neutral. It's been going sideways, but still in that long-term bearish downtrend. And bonds, bearish in the short term, neutral in the long term. I forgot to look at the chart of bonds, so let's quickly do that. TLT is the symbol for the bond market. And you can see that we've had this strong sell-off here, and that means interest rates have been going higher. The US Fed decided not to lower interest rates, not a great surprise. But then with the effect of higher oil prices on inflation, you just don't get the sense that the Fed is going to lower rates anytime soon, and that's why the bond market has gone down, and that makes interest rates go higher. All right, now we're going to take a look at the trade of the week, which is just another example of a stock that meets this criteria that I'm trading right now, which is these abnormal price breaks from low volatility. They happen every day. We look for them using a program called TradeStation and algorithms that I've written in a service that we offer called Active Live. You can learn more about that at Stockscores.com. Let's dive into the chart of ACXP, which was a hot stock this past week. And once again, we have these pink dots. Now, which are the ones that count? Well, there's one here, there's a few here, there's a few here, but not all of them count. The ones that count are the ones that are breaking from low volatility. Surprise breaks from low volatility. Here's another pattern of compressing volatility. This is called a pennant pattern. And we get a break from a pennant right there. And so, here this is at $5.75 or so, and it hits $7 within half an hour. Here's another quick little move. So as a short-term oriented trader, you can take advantage of that. But you need that signal, that algorithm that looks for them. I created my own indicator for this. It's not something you can find elsewhere. So I created what I call an action candle. It tells me that there's action coming into the stock, and I'll elaborate on those concepts and how to find these things in those free classes that I'm doing in April. Make sure you register for those at Stockscores.com. All right, do you think oil is going to reverse this week? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate you clicking on that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are not already. We'll see you again next week. As always, trade well.